We begin in Sri Lanka, an island nation southeast of India in the Indian Ocean, a country diverse in natural landscapes, religions, and sports. While cricket is by far the most popular sport in Sri Lanka, there's a thriving surf culture along the south coast, which brings us to the small town of Hikkaduwa. Hikkaduwa is a popular tourist destination because of its beaches. It's an internationally acclaimed surfing destination. Many of the locals make a living off of tourism, and surf instruction is a prime example. It's especially busy over the traditional holiday season, the last 2 weeks of December. It's at this point we meet Ashan. In 2004 he was just 18 years old. He made his living teaching tourists how to surf. He did what he loved and provided just enough for his family. His father passed many years ago, and he's taken care of his mother and two younger sisters ever since. The night of December 25th that year felt like any other Christmas night in Hikkaduwa. Loads of tourists making the most of their holidays. Ashan loved taking part in the festivities. He'd get to hang out with the people he met through teaching surfing, which gave him a chance to practice other languages. Unbeknownst to anyone in Hikkaduwa at the time, the Indian plate was being subducted by the Burma plate, causing an undersea megathrust earthquake with a moment magnitude of 9.1 just off the west coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. After a long night of socializing, Ashan made his way home as the sun rose over the calm beaches of his hometown, still completely unaware that a massive set of waves would soon arrive on these shores. He made it home safely to sleep, albeit only for a few hours. He was abruptly awoken by his frantic mother and screaming sisters as a result of a rush of seawater flooding their small house. This was only the first wave to hit Hikkaduwa. The locals still didn't know quite what to make of it and had no idea what was still to come. Amazingly, Ashan had several surfboards in his bedroom. Instinct kicked in, and he hurried his mother and sisters onto those boards, paddled out of the house, and floated through the flooded streets. Thanks to his quick thinking, they were able to avoid the destruction of the 10-meter wave that was about to level his town. Ashan and his family floated on those boards for several days until eventually being rescued. The tsunami killed an estimated 250,000 people in 14 countries, one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history. In Sri Lanka alone, there were 35,000 dead and more than 500,000 displaced. The tsunami had wiped out everything Ashan and his family had ever known. Thankfully, though, they survived. It was the sea that gave them everything to enable them to live their lives, and now it was the sea that took all of that away. Amidst the devastation, Ashan couldn't imagine making a living in Hikkaduwa anymore. He had to make a very difficult decision in order to support his family. He found a labor job in the construction industry in the Gulf region, which would pay him far more than he could ever make as a surf instructor. For every story like Ashan's, there are 10 others. Fathers, husbands, brothers, sons, and uncles travel hundreds of miles from their homes in search of financial opportunity and a better life for the families that they leave back home. Ashan arrived in the Gulf region to living conditions that weren't much to speak of. He spent many sleepless nights regretting his decision and wishing he could be back in Hikkaduwa lending a helping hand. But the pay here was good, and it helped him justify his decision and keep going strong. Every month Ashan sent most of his money back to his mother to support her rebuilding efforts. Because of his difficult decision to leave home and work abroad, progress back home was happening much faster than if he had remained in Hikkaduwa. The work was really tough. Long hours in hot, humid, and dusty conditions. The labor was incredibly physical and taxing on his body. About a month before Ashan's first annual vacation, he was told to erect some scaffold with a team of other workers. He'd never done a job like this before, and wasn't given any training. Even though falling from heights is the #1 killer on construction sites, he wasn't even given a simple safety harness. And in the snap of a finger, Ashan was gone. To lose your life to a tsunami is one thing. It's almost understandable in a way, next to impossible to predict or prevent. But to lose your life to the most recognizable construction hazard because basic safety considerations were ignored is another thing completely. In some ways, it's even more tragic. Ashan miraculously survived one of the deadliest natural disasters ever witnessed, only to be taken by one of the deadliest man-made disasters on the planet right now. The easily predictable and completely preventable poor safety standards for migrant workers in the construction industry. Back in Hikkaduwa, nobody's left to carry on Ashan's family name. His mother and sisters carry on as seamstresses thanks to back-to-work programs put in place to recover from the tsunami. A day doesn't go by when they don't think of Ashan and wish that he could return home. Let this story be a lesson. A lesson in the moral reasons for ensuring good health and safety standards are in place at all times for everyone. Nobody wants a family to lose a father, a brother, or a son who's simply trying to make a living. Nobody wants to lose Ashan.